Hello there, fellow travelers. It's nice to have you back on this Wednesday, September 14th, for the latest in travel news because we're going to start with some not fun news in terms of flighting to Europe for the foreseeable future. Well, at least for this weekend. And a few more things you need to know. But it's not all bad news. There is some good news out here. And we do have a couple silly travelers to talk about this week, but one person that's bringing the Halloween spirit to travel. So we're going to talk about a lot of things today. Love having you all here. Please don't forget to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. If you're used to seeing me on our Walter's World channel, don't worry. We still put out every Wednesday and Saturday. We have our long form travel videos. This week, you will see today, actually, if you go on there, you had Jocelyn talking about what makes a great Airbnb. So if you're thinking about being an apartment rental place, these are tips you should have to make sure that your apartment rental goes above and beyond. Okay. And then this weekend, we start our getting ready for Oktoberfest season with lots of Germany videos coming soon. So, looking forward to those on our main channel. Now, for those of you that are coming here for our live chat, we will do the chat at the end after we do our travel news because there are quite a few things out there, both bad and good, that we travelers need to know. Okay, so whether you're Laura or Lewis or Catherine or Stuart, I just want to say thank you and please come back next Wednesday. Remember, every Wednesday we do this. So now we've given a minute or so for people to hop online. I see we got some people on. Let's get started with, unfortunately, some not fun news about traveling to Europe. Two of the biggest airports in Europe, especially if you're flying to Europe from the US, are going to get hit pretty hard this weekend. Just to let you know, first off, Amsterdam, which we all heard about the horrible lines that were there this summer and the people missing planes all the time and not getting through security and all those things. They've gotten a bit better because they paid an extra $5 to $6 or €5 to €6 per hour to get workers to come more often. Unfortunately, they have now stopped the bonuses, the extra $5 or $6 an hour. And now the workers, according to their union boss, are actually leaving. And so now we're back to travel chaos in Amsterdam. So if you are going to be flying for the next month or so, you're going to need to get to the airport extra early in Amsterdam to get the Schiphol. You'll see the pictures, and a lot of pictures they're actually showing that you'll see online about this are probably showing pictures from this summer, not necessarily from September. But it is something you need to be aware of. They actually did ask that airlines cancel their flights for the rest. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday, I believe, to help alleviate the chaos that was to make it more manageable day. Yeah, because there's just not the security personnel. They're not paying them to get them to stay, and therefore those problems are coming about. So if you're going to be flying through Amsterdam, bad news, longer lines, longer security checks, get there earlier. So there is that. Now, in an airport that a lot of people go through, and we're going back to normal, traditional problems with travel. Well, this Friday, if you're going to be flying through Paris, well, there's going to be industrial action. There's a scheduled strike from 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. Friday morning until 6 a.m. Saturday morning in France. Okay. Now the thing is they're saying half the flights to and from France to be granted on Friday as workers strike. So if you're going to be flying to France from anywhere around the world, do realize that some of those flights will not be going. All right. So do be aware of that. Check your app, check your email from your airlines if you're going to be flying to France, because Friday is going to be a headache in France traveling. Okay. So do be aware of that. Now, if you see that's going to be there, maybe you can rebook your ticket. Give yourself time. Remember, they will strike till 6 a.m. and they'll be back to work at 6:01 on Saturday. That's one thing I do like about the French when they strike is like, yeah, they go, but they come back to work when it's time. So there is that. So do be ready for that, my friend. Okay, because that's going to be kind of a problem. All right. So do be aware of that. Now, continuing on with my theme of really horrible news about travel. Travel Leisure is saying airfare is expected to hit a 5-year high this holiday season. So that's not pandemic high. That's the last 5 years. Traveling this holiday season is going to be more expensive than you can imagine, or than it's been in 5 years. I mean, that is something that as travelers you need to be aware of. For example, I was looking to go to Brazil for the holidays to see my host family there, and The flights where it used to be like, they were expensive, like $1,500, are now $2,500. I mean, the tickets to fly this Christmas season, this holiday season, you need to be look for last minute deals, because right now there aren't any deals. If you're going to be visiting your family, maybe this is the one where you do the road trip, or maybe this is one where you do the Zoom Christmas, because honestly, some of the prices for holiday seasons is pretty crazy, because it says like Hopper data shows a 31% increase in Christmas airfare compared to 2019. I mean, that is, wow, your $1,000 flight is now $1,300. I mean, the $500 flight is now $650. I mean, these are big step ups for a lot of people, and you do need to be aware of it, because some flights aren't as much going up as much, but some have. So do be aware of it. So if you are looking to book and you're wondering if prices are going to fall, I don't know if they're going to fall for the holiday season. Now, we have talked to some people, and they're saying that hopefully by spring, prices will start to come back down. We'll see more normal airline flight prices for next summer. But right now, if you're looking at holiday travel, do expect to pay through the nose if you haven't already got your tickets, okay? Now, because I just love being the bearer of bad news when it comes to travel. Because, remember back in the day when I did my 511 hates of travel, I always did the hates first and then the loves, because I'd like rile people up and then talk about the good stuff. And then I went to, we'll do it back and forth, hates, then loves, kind of balance it out. Nope. With travel news, just get the bad news out of the way first. And I got more news. If you are going to be traveling on Amtrak, well, Amtrak is going to be canceling select long distance train ahead of a potential strike. So there are potential industrial actions that will affect some Amtrak lines. So do be aware of that. So do check ahead if you're going to be traveling by train, by Amtrak over the next, how long is it? For the foreseeable future, at least for the next couple of weeks, do check and see if you are affected. That's why I do recommend get the Amtrak app. They do actually announce your things if there's going to be delays. So just know it could be delays. It could be just completely canceled. So, boy, I'm just a bearer of great news today, aren't I, when it comes to travel, right? More bad news. Yes, more bad news. But there's good news on the horizon. Because of all the bad stuff that's been happening with travelers this year, we talked about how last week and the week before we talked about the Transportation Department's new website, the new airline dashboard, so you can see what you get and don't get from the airlines, which has been super helpful. But I'm going to tell you that wasn't quite enough for the administration. And now President Biden is talking about getting even tougher with airlines, telling them they need to do more to help out passengers, make it easier for them. And I have a feeling that the government pressure that's coming on them is getting them to change. Because you saw in terms of when are people going to get food, there were airlines who were like, I don't know, never, maybe 5 hours, 4 hours. Now it's kind of standard. Everybody's giving you food in the U.S. if you've been delayed for 3 hours or canceled or delayed for 3 hours, I think, except for Allegiant. It's on the website that'll tell you. So there is some hope. The government is hearing you, and they're trying to do something. It's nice to hear that. The government helping you out, right? Now, another thing I want to talk about is helping us with our good news. If you're going to be doing some fall driving in the U.S., gas prices are decreasing, and it's nice for our fall road trips. And AAA is saying, hey, take advantage of it because you can go out and drive. And after that summer of insane gas prices, I know where I live, gas is over $5 a gallon. Now we're like in the low $3. It can make a big difference, especially for family outings. And that's one thing that's nice in the fall. Isn't it nice to go to the pumpkin patch or go, drive through where the trees are? Taking advantage of that while gas prices are low. So I at least found some good news. So that is some nice news. But for international travelers, we're getting some better news. More places are opening up. New Zealand is planning to eliminate vaccine testing requirements for travelers. Now, it's not everything going out there. They don't have an exact timeline. Or do they have the exact timeline? No exact time. Yeah. So, yeah, because New Zealand first opened up back up to tourists in May of this year, and before dropping their pre-arrival testing rules for those vaccinated visitors in June and lifting restrictions on cruise ships in August. But they're looking to lower their restrictions even more. So that means if you're thinking about getting back to New Zealand, this is a good sign. Okay, because I know if for us, we were looking to go, and with all their things, the restrictions they had were so strong, it was kind of worrisome. We don't know what we're going to do, but now they're starting to relax some of the stuff, so that's really nice. for travelers heading there. So that is fantastic. And another place that's loosening up is Japan. Japan plans to remove the visa and travel agency requirements for tourists in the near future. No exact date mentioned, but for those who don't know, if you wanted to go to Japan, you basically had to go through a travel agency and do kind of like a cruise or a tour group. Now they're eliminating that, or they're going to eliminate that. And they did have it that you didn't necessarily have to, but you had to apply for a visa to go through. They're going to be getting rid of that visa, so you'll be able to, like independent travel. Looks like it's going to be coming back to Japan. However, they did stipulate that they don't have an exact date, so I can't tell you when that's going to happen. But the fact that it's being discussed is fantastic for travelers. And if we keep looking around to other things when it comes to travel and shaking our head, things that of rules and laws you might not have known. Look, some places, especially cities that have been overrun with tourism, aren't too upset that not a lot of tourists were there during COVID. And some places have put in new rules. So you might have heard about the American tourist that was fined about 450 euros for eating and drinking on the steps of a fountain in Rome. Look, some cities actually, I mean, we have loitering laws and things in the US. Well, some places in Italy, for example, you can't eat ice cream and walk in Florence, and at other places you can't sit, and they have it like it's for the decorum. So do be aware. If you don't see any locals eating while you're walking around, best not to eat there. And this person, it was 1 o'clock in the morning, and they're noshing on some stuff at 1 a.m. So I don't know what happened, but just be aware that there are certain places that do have rules about what you can and can't do. And and the thing is and sometimes you're not trying to be an ugly tourist. Maybe just have an ice cream. It doesn't say in the article, but you want to be heads up, because for all those people, like the guys on the motorized surfboards in Venice, or the people trying to steal sand from Sardinia, yeah, Italy's not too thrilled with some of the ugly tourism that's going on there. That's why we have our ugly tourist videos series that's out there, and help what not to do to upset the locals when you're there. And some of these things are kind of obvious, but just have a heads up, okay? If you may think it's funny to make like a funny video about something, it might not be funny to the local officials. I know there was some German travelers got fined for trying to make coffee on the Rialto Bridge in Venice. Look, come on. There's no reason to do that. That's you just being silly. So don't be surprised if you try to be silly and people aren't going to take it silly anymore, because with all the extra traveling stuff that's there. All right. Now, going to how would I say this? Our probably not smartest passenger of the week award. I talk about don't assault, don't harass the flight attendants, the captains, the crew, other passengers. You don't want fights on there. And the thing is we always talk about, you could get banned from the airline, which is bad. But now there's a passenger that was just sentenced to 4 months in prison for interfering with a flight crew. Look, if you mess with people on the plane, no one's got the patience for that anymore. And so you have these things, and airlines used to be kind of hush hush with it, but now with everybody videotaping everything, it's going to get out there, and they're going to come down hard on you. And if you assault their personnel, I think it was American, they're like, nah, man, you don't come after our flight attendants, you don't come after our people, and they press charge. The charges were pressed, and that person's got 4 months in prison. So do not mess with the flight attendants or any of the staff, the ground staff, desk staff, check-in, any of those things. Have respect for them and try to help them out. Now, in sad news, I think we all know that Queen Elizabeth passed away this past week. So there's a big, huge flood of tourists heading to London for the funeral. The funeral will be on September 19th, so that's in 5 days. So expect to see a lot of processions going by. I know Jocelyn, she's actually in England right now, and she's like, you can see the little bit more somber. You can see the Queen's picture a lot more places, but you're going to see a lot more kind of royal tourism popping up. And here's one of the things you see, that you're going to see celebrations of the Queen and her life in multiple parts of the country, and they'll show from, whether in York or Brighton or wherever. Take note of the places where they're celebrating. It might be someplace you want to go eventually, because that's one thing is, since she really was all over the place, they're going to show different places, the Commonwealth she went, and look around and see if there's places the Queen went that you might want to enjoy. So some to look forward to in terms of giving you ideas where to travel, but also paying respect to the Queen. Also, I think if you do have a trip to London booked right now and you're supposed to be there regardless, do expect London to be completely crowded, things to be sold out because of the funeral for the next week or so. It will go back to normal relatively quickly after the Queen passes away, but I think you will see a bump in English tourism just because people want to go see where the Queen was and the new king and these kind of things. Okay. So I see Catherine Lay was telling us, speaking of the Queen thing, was thinking of heading to London for the funeral. Norman's a 2.5-hour coach ride. For those who know, a coach is a bus. Now it's around 5 hours to get there. Yeah, so do plan in some extra time. Yeah. Stuart, also in the UK, bank holiday on Monday, so most shops are shut nationwide because they're going to be doing that. So there is those things. And then I think I want to finish off with actually some really happy, fun news. There was a man, I believe it was a Nebraska man. Yes, a Nebraska man, Dwayne Hanson, to celebrate his 60th birthday, he carved out a pumpkin and then canoed in the pumpkin for, I believe, 38 miles, something like 38 miles, so like 50 kilometers. This guy paddled down the river in a pumpkin to celebrate his birthday. And I say, Dwayne, that is pumpkin-tastic. Thank you very much, friend, for bringing some happiness and joy into the travel world with all the bad news that's out there. It's good to have a fun story like that. So those are the news stories of the week for travel. If you want to have more, you can just search them up online. And we come back every Wednesday with more travel news. So news on my front. Well, as I said, Jocelyn is out traveling, having a good time with her friends. I'm holding down the fort here. So if you want to say hi, feel free to say hi. But I'm actually on here now. If you have any questions, or we can discuss some things for a little bit. Like Natalia, who's actually going to catch a live in real time, which is really nice. Stuart Ross says, Brno's to ban beer bike tours. Okay, so this is one of those things. In Rome, pub crawls are banned. The thing is when you get anything where you're going to get people drinking a lot and they're there to have a good time and they're tourists, because when you go on a tour, you're like, I don't live here. I don't care what people are going to think about me. That lowers people's inhibition. So you have issues. That's why places probably like Brno are like, you know what? No beer bike tours. Because Brno, I mean, it's in the Czech Republic. They have fantastic food. They have mummies as well. They recently, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years ago, they redid the downtown, the historic part. So it's done beautifully up. There's a nice museum there. And you're going to see places cracking down more. Now, in the U.S., you'll still see the beer bikes and all that kind of stuff going around the tours. But I think in places in Europe where they felt like they've been over-touristed, you're going to see more crackdowns on stuff. So if you want to do any of those tours, kind of like the alcohol tours or anything more risque, don't be surprised in the next couple of years they kind of get toned down a bit. So you might want to enjoy them while you can. Let's see. Howdy, Walter's World Shorts. I saw where you were in Germany after the fact that I had asked you where you were. It's okay, my friend. Don't worry about it. I saw it and I'm like, Darian, it says Offenberg right there. So it's all good. So Darian, you'll be happy to know we have some Germany videos coming out starting Saturday. We've got the Don'ts of Freiburg coming, basic German for tourists heading to Germany, the Don'ts of Beer Gardens, and more fun German videos to get everybody in the mood for Oktoberfest. And for those of you who know, Oktoberfest doesn't start in October. It starts in September. It ends the first weekend of October. So do have a heads up for that if you're thinking about going to Oktoberfest one day. Yes, myself as well. So for those of you who don't know, EasyJet, we're waiting for them to release next summer's flights. So a lot of airlines, like more legacy carriers, will release their flight schedules up to 11 months in advance because of all the craziness from this summer and from travel and the fact that lack of pilots, lack of staff, lack of things. Some airlines are holding back on releasing their schedules so people don't know. Like, for example, I'm taking a group of students to Europe next summer, and right now we might just be bussing it. So instead of going to like Portugal and Spain and Greece or Denmark and Italy and Spain, it might just be Lisbon to Portugal, like Portugal to Spain on a bus, and then over to the south of France, bussing it like old school style. So that's one thing you should look for when they come out. And like I said, rumor is the price will be better for next summer than this summer. But what I always tell people, when you're looking to buy tickets, you want to buy a ticket that's comfortable for you price-wise. And then don't look at the prices again, because then you're like kind of upset, like, oh. But there are hacks you can do it, because if you see that, oh, the price dropped $300, well, if they don't charge me a cancellation fee, I could cancel, I get the credit, and then buy the new ticket at the lower price. I mean, those are things there that you could look at. As with every week, what are you drinking this week? I just got water today. Jocelyn's out of town. Liam's at school. I've got work to do. I'm actually writing an article, or trying to write an article for a publication on Husky Travelers. So if you have any topics you'd like me to cover on Husky Travel, people that are fat like myself that travel, let me know some of the questions that you have or things you want to get addressed. Going to put that together. So I'll write that up and then I'll be filming that when I go abroad on my next trip. So sometimes it's easier to write things up and then have it ready. Then I can, do the video for it too. Tyler, are hotel prices going up like airline prices in the destinations? Yes, they are. It's just a supply and demand kind of thing. You had a lot of hotels that went out of business during COVID. And right now, one of the problems is the hotels can't get the cleaning staff. They can't get anybody to work. I mean, I've talked to a number of front desk people, like managers, that are like, look, I'm doing the front desk, I'm doing breakfast, and I'm cleaning the rooms because we just don't have anybody. Okay, so that's one thing. And here's the thing. Everyone has to realize if you want to have those staffing levels like we had before the pandemic, they're gonna have to pay the people more to get them to come back. And so if they got to pay them more, that means they have more costs at the hotels, more costs at the airlines. So your prices will go up. Okay, as much as we want the cheapest of the cheap, you are gonna. I mean, you're seeing with the lack of services, yeah, you got a cheap price, but if people aren't making money, they're going to do something else. Because there are a lot of other options out there for working than being yelled at on an airplane by people that drink too much. I mean, that's one thing I feel bad for flight attendants and people that check in and stuff that are gate agents just get harassed. I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to help you get to your destination. It's not their fault that the weather came or other things came. So something to kind of think about it. Thank you. That's very nice of you. Catherine's talking about the hotel prices. Looked one day at a hotel price, £50 per night. Following, yeah. Yep, especially if you're looking for over the holidays. Anything you want to do this holiday season, I would lock it in now if you can. Otherwise, I mean, I've seen the prices for our things, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like I'm like, because usually we travel over the holidays, and this year I'm like, maybe we'll be driving someplace. I don't know. Lewis reserved a table at Hard Rock Cafe in Vegas. Never been. So here's the thing: people give people a hard time for Hard Rock, but I will tell you, since the new ownership came in for Hard Rock, they standardized the food. They made it a fun time. It's a much better atmosphere. And I know when I travel, like when we've lived around the world, whenever we like missed home, Hard Rock had the best like American bar food. Like there was more like in the U.S. and other places. So that was kind of a nice thing because everyone gets homesick when you travel. As much as I love Italian food, I was in Italy for 5 weeks this summer, 4 or 5 weeks this summer, and there was a time I'm like, you know what, I could go for something different. I didn't, but I could. I could have. Liam did. Liam's like, I gotta get a burger, and we were in Vicenza, which has a big U.S. base there, 2 U.S. bases actually, and so they had like barbecue, Tex-Mex burgers. Oh no, we did have burgers. We did have burgers from there, but it was at the Prince of Wales, so it was a beef burger. So, Jay Wilson, have you ever been or will you visit New Zealand? So we have not been. I was an exchange student in Australia when I was a kid, so I was there already, but I have not been to New Zealand. We were supposed to go for that Christmas, New Year's 20 to 21, and then that COVID thing happened, so we did not get there. So if you weren't hearing the earlier stuff, New Zealand's going to lower their restrictions and stuff for travelers. So hopefully we're going to get there. I don't see it this year. Well, it won't be this year. It won't be this year, but like 2024 probably, just because looking at the time frame, because first we would go, because we want to go there in the summertime, would be like holiday season, not this year, but next year. So Nancy, how are you? Is this the first time I caught you live? Have you ever gone to Didem, Turkey? It's close to Bodrum. I have not. So Turkey was another trip we were supposed to go on that got nailed by COVID. That was our summer of 20 trip. We had a bunch of kind of southeast Europe. And basically we're going from basically northern Italy through the Balkans, down through Greece, into Turkey, down into Israel, Jordan, and all that got zonkoed because of that. So we got to figure out getting back to Turkey. There is a week we have available next summer. Looking at our stuff right now, we have Israel, Jordan, Ethiopia, Egypt's supposed to be on there. So there's one other week we had that we could get there. So that's a maybe, but we will get there eventually, Nancy. Don't you worry. And we'll have all our usual videos. Oh, Natalia has a good comment. Hotels in our area in Cape Cod have started adding in extra fees, destination fee in addition to resort fees, and also charge for parking. For prior to the pandemic, you get one free parking spot. Yeah, and here's the thing: all these extra fees, all these things that are on there. One of the things I think you're going to see the next pushback on is people getting upset that those fees aren't upfront. It's kind of like when you look at Airbnbs, they will tell you, oh, this is a $150 a night place. But then once you book it, the average cost goes up to like $250 because it's a $300 cleaning fee and then a deposit and the pleasure of being able to stay at my house fee. I mean, that's really turning people off. And that's one thing I worry about with some of these, agencies that are putting these things together, the Airbnbs, VRBOs, is they've created this whole industry. But you have the locals that are getting priced out of homes because of the Airbnb stuff in popular destinations. You have that. So you have the political pressure coming from this side, but the tourists were putting so much money in that people were like, whatever, locals, there's too much money coming in. But now if you have the tourists also saying, dude, this is kind of crappy what's going on here, then they don't have that buffer anymore. And I think maybe you'll start seeing some people talking about, hey, regulation or hey, you need to this needs to be in there. Because remember, back in the day, Ryanair used to sell their tickets for, it was €1 to go fly. And then they said, hey, look, that's not true. Well, it's true. It's €1 for the ticket, but you always have to pay the taxes and fees for those flights because, that Amsterdam airport still wants its money, right? So that €1 flight turned into like €55, which still isn't a lot, but you know what? It's not one. So I think you're going to see some pushback on that. So here's one. Do you think Airbnb are now as expensive as hotels? I do. I can personally tell you from our travels, because we only stopped traveling from mid-March of 20 until through June. So by the 1st of July, last of June, began July again. And we traveled all over the U.S., Airbnbs, hotels, all kinds of stuff. And I will tell you, before the pandemic, if we were staying anywhere 3 nights or more, we were getting an Airbnb or a VRBO or an apartment rental because it was just more economical for us. Now, with the prices that are on there, the extra fees, the cleaning fees, all this kind of stuff. And honestly, one of the things that upsets me the most is that you'll go to an Airbnb and you basically have to clean the entire house yourself before you leave and do all the laundry, and then you have to pay $300 for a cleaning fee. It's like, why am I doing all this if I got to pay $300? But you don't want to have a bad, review because then people won't rent to you. So that's one of the things I think is upsetting. So I know for us now, where it used to be 3 nights and up is going to be Airbnb. Now it's like 4 nights and below, we're going to do hotel. 5, then we're going to start thinking about it. Okay. So it is one of those things you got to think about. What's this? Test with a tissue first, stick one in, and if you can't open it, no loss, but a bit of surprise for the next person. Which one's this one? I got to see what Natalia said. Oh, here we go. Do you use the hotel room safes? This likely sounds ridiculous, but I'm always afraid to use them in case I can't open them or they get stuck or something. Catastrophic thinker. Okay, so Natalia says, now, yeah, test it with the tissue first, stick one in. If you can't open it, no loss, but a surprise for the next person. Yeah, that's one thing is I will always test it. Most of the time, it'll be a 4-digit code and then a pound sign to open it and unlock it. Always test it first. If you have small children, I would lock it anyway. Like, even if you're not going to put anything in there, you never know when the little one's going to put something in there and they just put the button in and, oh, it's locked. The thing is, your hotel has the super secret code that's going to unlock those locks anyway, so you can get it out. They can get it. But to save yourself the headache, I would just set the code when you come in to whatever number you like to use and lock it so the little ones can't put stuff in there and they haven't forgot there. Let's see. Tyler, is Dresden, Germany worth it? Yeah, it's worth more than a day trip. It's worth a couple of days. The Zwinger, fantastic museum to go see. If you ever see the 2 like cherubs sitting next to each other like this, looking up, that's there. That's there. Michelangelo's thing's there. Also, the churches that are there are incredible. It's also where the Saxon kings were. So well worth going. More than a day. And also, if you go at Christmas time, they have one of the coolest Christmas markets. One of the best Christmas markets to go to in Germany. So nice. Catherine, last year went to Amsterdam, everything was booked up, looked at Airbnb and was equally as expensive as a 5-star hotel. I know. That's why, I never, in Amsterdam now, I don't stay in Amsterdam. I'll stay out in Utrecht or Leiden Harlem, any of those places out there, just because it's so easy to get to Amsterdam now. There's no reason to pay the super high prices in Amsterdam when you can go stay out in a suburb and it's like literally a 15-minute local train in. So I mean, it's just not worth it. Do I have any videos about Houston? The only thing I have about Houston is it's not really Houston. It's Galveston, which is right away from like the coast from Houston. That's the closest I have for you. Just know that the traffic horrible, horrible, and a little warm in the summer. Best thing I can tell you about it. Anyway, so what did y'all think about the news this week? Yeah, some bad news, some good news, some fun news, some bad, stupid news. But just trying to put these things together, trying to figure out how this worked. I think it's the fourth or fifth week we've done these the live news at noon, and I'm going to keep doing these for the next few weeks. And I'm going to see how it goes with the live kind of interaction. If we're getting someplace with it, with the idea that what it might be is some days we do have the live and some days just the news that come out. But that's more like next year because I'm just kind of testing out things, see what's working, and also trying to figure out if we're going to do like should we keep doing this at noon on Wednesdays or should we make it an evening thing? And then also with the kids and everything else, knowing when you can have times because you never know when there's a soccer game or a science club or something. So I'm trying to figure out those to really just test this out, see how it goes, and if we get more people, we get more people the news in a different way because I know seeing a video with 50 minutes of talking, just the number like scares people off of their news thing. Maybe what we'll do is we just do the news at the beginning and we have the live feed. And then when it goes like on the board on YouTube, then we cut off the last 20 minutes. I don't know. Just trying other different things out. I don't know how he traveled on the pumpkin. So the pumpkin was so big and round. It was a huge pumpkin, like the ones you win like competitions with. He carved it out. I mean, it's like this thick, okay? And so it was very buoyant. And he was kind of a smaller guy. So he climbed in there and he was just rowing. I mean, it just fit his body basically. And he rode down 38 miles. So heard the Ryanair was striking in Spain September, October. Hope one day there'll be no strikes. Yeah, we can hope, but I don't see it happening. Tim, I do not have anything for Andorra right now. I have considered going there with when I'm by with some of Barcelona trips or some of my Basque Country stuff, but I haven't got it planned out yet. But when I get over there, we will have an Andorra one. Don't worry. Yeah, Natalia, I was already not planning on traveling for the holidays based on the recent nightmares at airports when it gets super busy. But yes, the cost is a bit prohibitive as well. Yeah, I mean that's just it. Like right now, we wanted to go down to Brazil, see my family down there, but I can't pay $10,000 for 4 tickets. It's just like I was thinking, okay, we're gonna pay you 4 or 5,000 to get down there, but not 10. I want to get down there. Maybe like I'll go myself in January or something, but it's the prices are just insane. I don't know how people are going to go see grandma. Maybe they just fly grandma by herself over. I don't know, but be ready for that. And also, here's the thing: is you had all that chaos this summer, and the airports and stuff still have not been able to hire everybody they need to. So fun times this holiday season, I bet. Tyler, thank you very much. I'm glad these are super helpful. Natalia likes the noon during the weekday. Evening is hard. Yeah, that's the same thing here. And also for me, how my schedule is, I actually have Wednesdays free from about 11 until 3, so I can come in and hop here and do these things. So there's that. London in February, it'll be cool and wet. It is fine. I've been there then. It's fine. Like London's one of those cities that you're fine. There's so much to do that you'll be fine any time of the year you go. So. Belgium Pigeon, good to see you back. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to leave you all because I got to get back to my article on Husky Travelers. So I hope you all enjoyed your time. Don't forget to hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do. We'll be back here next Wednesday at noon Chicago time to talk about travel news for the week. And we'll be putting out our usual shorts during the week and some other stuff. I know I've got some new videos we've been putting together that are not the don'ts or the shocks, but just when we go to a town that has a few things to see, just like a short little guide thing. Not a short, like a normal video, like it's this horizontal stuff. We have some of those coming out. starting, it'll be every other Tuesday. So like we had one I put out last week on the Palanga Airport, and I have one coming up. I don't know if is this coming week. I don't know if it's Alberobello, this town in Italy, or it's going to be a review of a flight from Helsinki to Vilnius, but like little small things we're going to be putting out on there. So there'll be more stuff out there. I appreciate you all being on here for me, and I'm glad I could share some of the travel news with you. Have a fantastic week, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.